It's no fun when our kids are sick, but we may just have found the silver lining. Apple and raspberry and orange flavoured electrolyte slushies made by Rehydrate.
Rehydrate slushies are a tasty way to get essential electrolytes into our little ones when they're dehydrated from sickness or even just the Aussie heat. They're delicious and they'll help your little ones feel better in no time. Grab Rehydrate from Coles today.
This is the Happy Families podcast with Dr. Justin Coulson. We are Luke and Susie, and this is the podcast for time-poor parents who just want answers now. Our next guest is a doctor of psychology who writes for the New York Times and is featured in Sydney's Daily Telegraph, The Project, The Today Show, and of course the Luke and Susie radio show. A closet middle-aged man in Lycra and our family and parenting expert from happyfamilies.com.au. Please welcome father of 6 daughters, Dr. Justin Coulson.
I'm feeling a bit sad today.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, the inventor of the water jug died today.
Oh.
Tributes have been pouring in.
That goes down as my favourite.
I got another one. The Dire Straits.
Okay.
Dire Straits, they're looking for an agent in the Middle East. They should check out Qatar George. He knows all the Kurds.
No, I don't.
Oh, it's one of their best songs. You check out Guitar George. He knows all the chords.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I don't know enough.
I shouldn't have gone with that one. I should have just kept it with
left
the
it.
water jug.
You're on a
winner.
high with
You're
my
on a winner.
favourite ever.
Just brought it down.
Actually, that book ended the whole list of your dad jokes. It was my favourite and
Least favourite. All in one go.
Can we edit? Like, are we on some sort of delay here? Can we just pretend that never
Hey,
happened?
You live with the poor branding that you just executed right there. Live with it, Justin.
All right, well, let's move on. How about we do that? Tamika's question, because I'm desperate to hear your answer to this. Tamika wrote to us and she said, what do others do to keep up with their teens in all areas, such as the latest lingo, fashion, devices, etc.? I'm wanting to know how others connect with their teens and maintain a strong line of communication.
So Tamika wants to know how to get jiggy with it. No.
Oh, no.
No.
I dare you to try that with the kids.
Yeah.
Oh no, they
Both using those words and getting jiggy with it.
the most common thing I hear from my 10-year-old about me over the last year or so has been cringe. So cringe. Thanks, Tyson.
I love it. So remember when our children were little, we used to, let's say they were playing Lego or Duplo or something like that, and we used to get down on the floor with them and really engage with them and spend time with them. We were doing stuff together. And how long's it been since you've done that with your teenager or even your 10-year-old? We don't spend the same quantity of time or the same quality of time as they get older. Part of that's normal. It's developmental. The children are supposed to be doing things.
Part of it is the fact that when you're 2 and you make anything with Duplo, they think it's the coolest thing ever.
It is.
Yeah.
And suddenly, not so much the older they get.
Yeah.
But I think behind Tamika's question really is this recognition. I used to say, just like dollars are the currency of our economy, attention's the currency of our relationship. But I've changed it just recently. I was thinking about it. I thought, attention is in some ways the currency of our relationship, but it depends on the kind of attention. I actually think just like dollars are the currency of our economy, connection is the currency of our relationship. And so I'm less interested in having the lingo of a teenager. I mean, do you really want to start talking about your partner or husband or wife as your bae? You before anyone else.
Yeah,
do you really want to start using emojis and saying lol instead of actually laughing?
Just can't do it.
No. So and kids kind of do this, and they've got a bajillion other acronyms and things that they do, things that Luke's looking at us lost.
Before anyone else,
You've not heard of your bae?
No, I have heard of bae, but not with an acronym. I just thought it was short for baby.
Yeah, so this is about 4 years old now, 5, 6 years
Oh my
old.
gosh, I know nothing. Anyway,
It's all about to happen.
Yeah,
It's all about to happen.
It's approaching.
But I don't think I don't think that it's really about having their lingo. I don't think it's about being the cool parent who knows what the teenagers are up to and knows how to send Snapchats and how to send snaps and knows how to have a streak with their child. A streak with their child does not mean running naked.
I was going to say, what on earth? This segment's gone to pot.
No, that means something else too. No.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So it's not about having the lingo, it's about having the connection. And if you've got the connection, if you've got the relationship, the lingo doesn't matter. The stuff that the cool... Nothing looks worse. Nothing actually looks more pathetic than a 40-something-year-old parent trying to be cool with their 16-year-old teenager. It's just... You've got to own the fact that you're in your 40s, please.
But that's right, in how we behave. But I think part of the concern is if I don't know what these words are that my child is using and I don't know what they mean, then they could be getting up to stuff that I don't understand in front of my face.
And is it as much about like that, the connection that you mentioned? Like if we don't speak in a term that they understand, if we don't understand what they're saying, then how do we have that connection?
I get where you're coming from with that, but I think that if we've got a great connection, we can just ask them, what does this mean? I saw you text this before. I saw somebody text this to you. What does that mean? If the connection is strong, they'll tell us. If it's not, they'll lie to us.
Yeah.
And we'll never know. But there's this thing called Google. It's amazing what you can find when you see...
That is true.
So comforting, by the way, Dr. Justin. They'll either tell you the truth or they'll lie to you.
But they will. Yeah. And so what Tamika's saying is I want to be... I want to keep up with my teens. How do I keep up with them? You keep up with them by having a relationship with them. Yeah. You spend Sunday morning going for a walk or popping down to their favourite cafe and buying a milkshake, or you can do low-cost and no-cost activities. Yeah. It's about time in the relationship.
And I like that you threw in there earlier that it's about being authentic as we are at whatever age we are. I remember someone saying when I was when I was young and entering youth ministry, they said a young person will orient themselves to the oldest person in the room who'll take them seriously. And so if they don't want you to act their age, they want you to act your age and take them seriously where they're at.
What beautiful wisdom.
Well, and so one of the big things for me, because you talked about connection being such an important issue, is that if we don't understand what they're saying and they can't understand what we're saying because we speak completely different languages, we don't know the terms that they're using or the things that actually trigger them. So I think about my nephew on social media and what he was so upset about being left unread. And I'm like, I don't understand what you're upset about. He goes, well, they left me unread.
You know what's even worse is when they leave you read.
And don't reply.
They don't reply at all.
And I'm like, this is where I'm going. I go, what's the big deal? Like, they're busy. They haven't got to them. Oh, no, that's not what it means. And he just went on to explain all this stuff, and I'm like, I still don't get it. And so how do we have connection if we don't get it?
Well, we have conversations, and the conversations create the connection. It's really that simple. Their world is different to ours, or maybe his world is different to yours. Maybe there's a cognitive distortion going on in his mind that makes him feel insecure and unloved if people are leaving him unread, or worse, if they're reading his messages and leaving him read but not replying. I mean, that's the one that usually blows people up. Yeah. And so we get to talk about that. We say, help me to understand why that triggers you, and they're like, oh, triggers, because everything triggers people. The trigger is the new word for the last few years. So we want to explore. I talk a lot about the 3 E's of effective discipline: explore, explain, and empower. But sometimes we don't need to use these things for discipline. Sometimes we just use these things because they're useful communication tools. Yeah. So we say to this person, I've noticed that every time this happens, you get irate. I've noticed that every time this happens, you reach for the phone and become completely absorbed. I've noticed. Help me to understand what's going on here. What does this mean? What other interpretations could we have? Let's talk about this. As parents, we need to be wise coaches and mentors. We need to be wise guides for our children. And if we don't understand what they're experiencing by asking them questions, then we can't guide them well. But once again, the only way that we can find those things out is by having a strong connection with them.
Yeah, I like the explore things. We had an experience with our 8-year-old, I did recently, where he wanted us to go fishing in Sydney Harbour. When I said, I've Googled it, I've looked, and while you're allowed to, I haven't found places that could facilitate it for us because we won't have our fishing gear with us. And I thought he would just say, oh, that's okay. But he looked really sad. And I went, oh, okay, he's not going with me here. I said, so is that okay? He says, oh, but I really wanted to go fishing with you in Sydney Harbour. And I said, so why is that important to you? He said, because I really love fishing with you. And he said like this, the implication was, this is the best time that we've had together and I want to recreate that. And so my answer to him was, well, what if we can't do it on this trip, like let's just book in to go fishing when we're not on this trip and we'll do that as well. He went, yes, we'll do that as well. We'll get a second go at it. But it was only because I asked that extra question did I realize he wasn't being childish tantrumy because he didn't get to do what he wanted. He was sad because he was looking forward to this bonding time with Dad. So it was a great response, but I only knew because I asked an extra question.
Connection's about being seen, heard, valued. We don't need the lingo. We don't need to know the acronyms. We don't need to look like we're trying to be 16. We just need to see them, hear them, and value them. And when we do that, we keep up with them just fine because they invite us into their world.
Beautifully said. Dr. Justin Coulson, love the wisdom. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
To find out more info on all of Justin's books, podcasts and programs, you can go online to happyfamilies.com.au, and to find out how to have Justin come and speak at your school, organisation or event, go to justincoulson.com.